How's it going, everybody? Thanks for coming to our webinar today with Dynascape and in-lite. Today, we're going to talk about how to use lighting in your designs and how to grow your business and your projects by adding lighting into it, and how Dynascape can help along on that design process. For those of you who may not know me, I'm Tom Watson. I've been with in-lite as an account manager now for 2.5 years. I'm up in Canada, in Central Ontario is my primary territory here. Outside of work, I'm a husband and a father. That's my wife, Aaliyah, and my two sons, Charlie and Quinn. Charlie just turned 2 and Quinn's going to be 4 in a couple of weeks here. I'm a rock star and an athlete. I've been a musician my entire life, drumming since I was a little kid, starting to get my little guys into it now as well, which is pretty fun. I've had great success with music in the industry and had our music on national TV and radio when music videos were a bigger deal than they are today. I'm also an avid beer leaguer. I love playing sports. If it's hockey, golf, softball, whatever it is, I usually play hockey twice a week. And then I also play provincial ball hockey as well. I graduated from Laurentian University with a Bachelor of Business Administration with honors. So I had lots of fun through school and learned a lot, and very fortunate to be able to use what I've learned there to help grow my businesses that I work for strategically, and then also partnering with businesses in the industry that we get to partner with and helping them grow as well. So a big focus of mine is looking at that strategic growth. And if you want to follow along my journey here, I'm on Instagram at in-lite_Tom, and on various social media as well, such as LinkedIn. And we also have Beth Edney with us here today.
Hey, Tom, thanks so much. Oh my gosh, you have such a beautiful family. And I can't believe your babies are going to grow up really fast, because my baby is turning 20 next week. So my goodness, I'm going to be out of the teenage years with all my kids. So just take lots of videos of those kids, because you'll really appreciate it down the road. So I've been doing this too long. I wanted to stop counting, because, as you go up in years, then you can't say you're as young as you feel. I think this is my 36th year in business, or in the landscape world as a landscape designer. And I think next year will be my 30th year in actual business. I'm a certified landscape designer, which is a certification in Canada, and it's a national certification that I'm really proud of. And I'm really involved with the certification process. So if anybody's interested in that process, please reach out to me about that. I am the artistic director of the Christmas market at the Toronto Distillery in the historic district there. That's been a really fantastic journey for me. I started right from scratch with them, putting together a concept for decor. So it's evolved into this mammoth project now, but I really like it. It's really quite fun and instantaneous. Gets my design juices going. I'm the chair of the Landscape Designer Group in Ontario, so I represent all the landscape designers in Ontario. I've been on the show committee for Landscape Ontario, the LO Congress show, for 23 years. I think I'm the longest serving member on that. I act as a judge for the Awards of Excellence for the design category. So that's been a pleasure to do. And I really enjoy looking at all the fantastic designs that come into us. I serve on the board right now. I'm the board rep for the landscape designers, and lots of things I do in my spare time. One of the things I'm doing now, and that I take every minute I have, extra minute, is laser cutting and engraving. If you see the slide on the right, I've created some really cool stuff, and now I've just got one that does metal. So I'm kind of addicted to that, and I'm addicted to Procreate, to drawing on my iPad. So that's been really fun. In addition to being a hockey mom, I'm a hockey mom, and my son is playing down in Atlanta, actually, in the junior hockey league. So Tom and I can relate. He's at the starting level, and I'm at the end level of it. But you still stress out about it. You still have lots of fun with your kids, and so it just changes a little bit, and they just get bigger and more hair and more smelly as they play hockey. I'm really excited to have this webinar today, because I've had so many of my students through Dynascape ask me more about lighting designs, and I know enough probably to be dangerous. So I'm really excited to be on the call with Tom. in-lite you guys cleaned up on awards, right? Like just recently there was, what awards were you at, or was Rob at?
We were down at the NADRA Awards in Florida, the North American Decking and Railing Association, and yeah, we had a really strong showing down there. We've had 10 or 11 places with it, with the awards we won, including first overall and second overall for entire project. So some of the most prestigious award out of the awards there, and going 1-2 was quite exciting with the partners I work with there. Neighborhood Fence and Deck coming out on top there, and then the guys from Windeck coming in second. So it was really cool to be a part of that, and to work with professionals all over North America to help them bring these designs to life, and really amazing to see what everybody's doing on the design and build side of things as well.
That's fantastic. So I guess you guys have to bring a new suitcase when you go down to those awards to carry back all the plaques.
Pretty much. When they're asking if you're claiming anything, you got to tell them that you're bringing importing some lumber back with all the awards that we're bringing back these days. So it's lots of fun for sure.
That's right. Great. Well, we're in good hands to learn from you guys today. Do you want to start it with what we're going to delve into? For sure.
So thanks, Beth. Again, amazing to have you here to be able to help kind of bridge the gap between, the finished product of the lighting project and then getting into the design side of things. So amazing to be able to share this webinar with you here today. So what we're going to talk about is first, like why you would want to add lighting into your projects, into those designs, for your end clients, for those end users, or for your professionals that you're designing for. We're going to talk about some different design tools that we have available, and then some different design techniques that you'd be using as well when you're creating these lighting plans. We're also going to talk about some core lighting effects and products, at a high level, to be able to get you familiar with some products and some different types of lighting effects if you haven't designed any lighting before. And then I'm going to pass it over to you, Beth, and we'll do a live demo kind of showing how to use, kind of putting everything together in Dynascape and creating a lighting plan.
Fantastic.
Amazing. So the first part here, we're going to talk about why light, what's the importance of having lighting into your project. And with that, with lighting, when I talk to whether it's a homeowner, an end client, or to an end user or a professional or a designer, if there's no lighting on a project, you're not able to enjoy it to its full extent. On the professional side of things, it is a new revenue stream and added skill set for them. So a lot of times now, especially, going into this year, a lot of people are, maybe a little worried or unsure maybe what can happen with the economy. If you're not adding lighting into your designs, into your projects and pitching it initially, if you're not doing any lighting on those projects, you're leaving money on the table. So right off the bat, it is that new revenue stream, which can help generate, quite a bit of profit for your business. And in addition to that, obviously, make your projects look even better than they already do without any lighting. When you're adding lighting into the project, you're highlighting those features, creating that drama, and then creating a larger usable space. You can see in the picture here, we have the lighting around the pool. We're uplighting the cedars on the sides. We're getting that height, and we're getting that, that width of the space. We have lighting on the back so that we're getting a longer usable space. It seems like a larger space than if it was just the pool with the lights, and then again, the fence to the other side there. So we're creating a larger space, and it's warm and welcoming. You want to be in that outdoor space. You want to enjoy the space. You're not afraid of it. As humans, of the dark. So when we add lighting into the space, we're invited into it. We want to be there. We want to enjoy it. And then it allows you to create those memories with, with your family at the end of the day, when you are going to be enjoying your outdoor space. And the investment that you've made into that outdoor space, regardless if it's a small patio or a small deck or a full-blown outdoor oasis, whatever the scale of that project is, by investing a little bit more into lighting and the overall scale of the project, then you're going to have a greater return on the investment of the overall project, because you can enjoy it, until the sun comes up if you choose to. So lighting does complete that investment of the outdoor space, and then also adds that safety element here. I have it on the bottom, like the last on the list there. But with lighting, you do add that safety element. A lot of times, with your foot in the door, you can highlight those changes in elevation, where maybe you might not have the opportunity, or there might not be the room for the level of investment to do the full project. But by getting in your foot in the door, getting that safety element, highlighting those transitions or those changes of elevation, allow you to come back for those later phases as well on the professional side of things. But having that plan built out with the full scale of what lighting can be on that project also allows your professional to come back and then add those later phases in if that ends up being the what they need to go forward with. So with that, I also have a nice little video here.
What is it about the Northern Lights that makes them so captivating? Why do we sit around a bonfire at night, creating memories? Or travel to Times Square for the mesmerizing billboards? Why are we so drawn to light? It's because the darkness creates that magical moment when all our senses are at their peak, and light is experienced in a whole new way. in-lite reveals the true potential of outdoor designs, bringing any space to life with high-quality modern products and the highest CRI in the industry. Create your masterpiece and experience the magic of in-lite.
Amazing. So quick little video there. And just also quickly going to talk about why in-lite as a lighting solution for you. We've been a lighting company now. We've been in business for 25 years. It's our 25th anniversary this year. So really excited to, see where things have come from. Prior to me joining, looking back, seeing, what our R&D team has done over the years. Again, we've been constantly improving and perfecting our craft. All we do is landscape lighting. We do it extremely well. Our style is very European and modern. So if you're looking at in-lite products compared to traditional North American landscape lighting products, we are going to look differently. We have that modern contemporary style, and we know we're different. We love being different. Part of that is with our R&D team. We have the highest CRI in the industry. I'm going to touch on that in the following slide. This is something that really sets us apart in the industry from the quality of light that we're getting from our light fixtures, and that are going to enhance the space. We also have our patented Easy Lock connection I'm going to touch on as well. Your professionals will love you for drawing in-lite into your designs because they're able to install their fixtures faster and then end of the day make more money. And also all of our fixtures are integrated. So we're going to touch on this as well when we get into the design side of things. But choosing the right fixture, all of our fixtures are integrated. So you're not getting a fixture and getting a drop-in lamp. Everything's integrated. So you're just choosing the right fixture for the right application. And again, we have some different tools available to help make that a little bit easier for you as well. Awesome. So for color rendering index, one thing that really sets us apart at in-lite is our CRI, which is color rendering index. When you walk down the street, we have a nice sunny day here today, finally. So when you're outside and you see those vivid colors, those green maple trees, those red Japanese maple, those really vivid colors, that's the high CRI of the sun, which is a perfect 100 CRI. With artificial light, we're trying to recreate that, that high CRI, those vibrant colors. So with in-lite, all of our fixtures are CRI 90 or above, which really, again, in this outdoor space, you can see in the picture on the bottom right there, that you're getting those vibrant greens and really bringing out the natural beauty in the landscape. With a lower CRI fixture, you can start to see around CRI 80, things are starting to get a little grayed out, a little washed out, and then CRI 70 or below, like really grayed out. So you're not getting those vivid colors and making it as vivid as it can be and as nice as it can be. So that's what we like to do at in-lite here, is have the highest quality light and bring out those natural colors in the landscape.
Really difference, like a huge difference.
It is crazy when you see that difference of the high CRI and the lower CRI. Another thing with red being a harder color to render. Just jumping back to that slide there with the R9 value, you can see on the CRI 90 or above and the 70 below, those red is the hardest color to render. So when you have that higher CRI and that high R9 value, you're able to make those other colors pop, like those reds as well, in addition to the greens in the space. But definitely makes a world of a difference. For Easy Lock for your professionals when you're designing, again, this is our proprietary connector here. A couple different pieces to it, very simple. I won't spend too much time on how to do it. I'll show you in a little video here, and you can just share this tidbits of information with your professional. There's a couple different pieces to it. We have our Easy Lock connector. You have your cable guide here, and then your cable cap. You put your cable guide onto your wire, put your wire into the Easy Lock, twist the cap down, and plug in your fixture, and then they're off to the races. So quick little video here just to show how quick and efficient it is to install. So there's no stripping or moretting any wires together. Very, very efficient for the professional to install the fixture and get on to the next next fixture faster and next phase of the project faster as well. Jumping into some design tools. So these are some things that we have to offer to help you on the design side of things. We have our book of in-lite here. So we have our 2 digital versions, our larger book of in-lite, and then our smaller book of in-lite as well. So the QR codes are there for people to scan during the session here, and then you'll get these in a follow-up email as well. But some great resources here. There's going to be a couple more. So this is great for inspiration for how different fixtures can look in the space. And when we're choosing the right fixture, I talked about integrated fixtures. So for spotlights, for uplighting, for example, we have our scope family on the side here. This is our product advisor. This is available digitally. It's in our printed brochures. And this is where you're able to see the beam spreads of the fixtures. And so you're able to choose the right fixture for the right application, for the right foliage, for the right tree, ensuring that you're not overpowering or underpowering the fixture and really getting the proper lighting effect onto the fixture, or onto the element rather. Another thing that can help with that are our spec sheets. So on our spec sheets, you're going to see all your specifications for your fixture, including what the CRI is, what the draw, how many watts, what the VA is, and you also see the angle of the beams, and then you'll also see a foot candle chart as well. So you know at what distance, what intensity the light is going to be. So we also have a spec sheet brochure as well. You can go through, and that's available through the QR code on the screen as well. That's brand new for this year, having that spec sheet brochure dialed in. So if you have any questions about that as well, you can always feel free to reach out. But a great resource there for, again, ensuring that you're choosing the right fixture and not having any hot spots or anything like that. Another thing that we have available as well is photometrics. So with photometrics, this is the fingerprint of the light. So again, we talk about the beam of light and choosing the right fixture for the right application. We do have IES files and other files available as well for getting into the rendering side of things as well. So if you're looking to add that into your designs as well on the later stage of things, we do have those available as well as any resources that we'll touch on. I know we have some pictures and stuff like that as well for on the design side of things. You can access all of that through the QR code there for our resource page. And now for the fun stuff, for how to design and some basics here of getting your design started. So the foundation of landscape lighting is layers, layers. And we talk about them all the time because they're so important. So with layers, you want to have, you're going to have, and you can see in the picture here, you have the path lights, you have your garden lights, and you have the uplights on the side, you have your focal point on the back. So the layers are going to create a more professional landscape lighting project. And it's going to create a more cohesive space. Instead of just having, little pockets of light, you're creating a fully immersive space. And again, it really allows you to be artistic and then enhances really elevates the project and the professionalism of the landscape. So another video here just to show what layers can do to the space. Awesome. So just showing there, some recessed fixtures in the pavers there, some garden lights and some fence lighting as well. So creating those layers really adds and really creates that professional aesthetic to the space. Some other things when talking about layers, you can have ambient lighting to set that mood when you're going to be, relaxing or socializing in an area. And then we also have your task lighting. It's going to be a little bit more for that safe navigation of a space. And we have accent lighting, where you want to highlight those focal points and really show some things off and create that sense of drama as well. So again, when looking at starting your designs, there's a couple different things to talk about, is having those viewing angles. So when you're looking at the design of the space, where are the usable spaces going to be? How is the space going to be used? Where are people going to be sitting and looking? And then what are those money angles, those money sides of the elements that you need to, have enhanced with light there. Are there any safety concerns? So it's changes in elevation. Are there any, items of interest or, unique elements in the space that you can enhance with lighting as well? Any vibrant colors that you can bring out with that high CRI? And then any changes in height where you can keep things, you don't want to have things stagnant at one level. You want to mix it up so your eyes walk through the space as you're going through. Additionally, you want to use dark to your advantage as with light. So when we're enhancing things with light, you have the light, and then you also get the free color of the dark as well. So you get to kind of paint with two colors here with the light and dark. So use that to your advantage. Your eyes are going to be drawn to those bright areas, but you can hide things with dark as well, purposefully, but you just want to make sure you don't have any weird, scary dark spots or the space. You still want to have that cohesive space. But for example, like an area with pool equipment, you don't have to have that lit up, then you just light it up around it so that you have that element that you still have that cohesive space. And lastly, anytime you have any movement in the space, it really brings things alive. So anytime you can create shadows using water, it can really, again, elevate things and add a whole nother level of interest to the space as well. For some opportunities for light, and we're going to touch on all of these on the design as well. So have your tree lighting to create that height, that practical lighting on your steps, and then artistic light to really bring things alive and put that flair, that design flair that you have, that you bring to all your designs, and use that to your advantage to make things a little different from each one. Some common mistakes to avoid when you're getting into your lighting plans is only doing one type of lighting. So if you're only doing hardscape lighting or only decking or only uplights, you want to mix it up and then use those different types of lighting effects to create that fully immersive space with those different layers. You also don't want to blow things out. You don't want to have that football field lit up. You want to have things ambiently and artistically enhanced with light so that you have that depth and dimension to it without being just flat with flooded with light. Anytime you have light shining in the eyes with glare is not ideal. So using the right accessories there to help minimize that will go a long way, as well as, again, taking those viewing angles into account. So you're not shining things into windows or into neighbors' houses or even in the areas you're going to be sitting. Mixing color temperature is not recommended. So you want to stay within either warm or cool lighting. Generally in landscape, things are going to be in the warm spectrum because it's going to have that warm and inviting feeling to it. And then I talked about choosing the right fixture for the right application. So avoiding hot spots. You can see in the bottom left there, those white, those white patches on the greenery and the foliage there. Those are hot spots. So it's either too intense of a light for that element, or it's too close to it, or it's angled, down directed onto it too much. So that's where you're getting those hot spots, and you want to avoid that. You want to have that color shown and have that nice, evenly distributed light there. So touching on some different fixtures quickly before we jump into the design side of things is our integrated fixtures. So with integrated fixtures here, you're going to have these recessed into, they can be in walkways, they can be in pavers, they can be, in softscape, but with different fixtures here being recessed, you have an uplight or path light or even step light opportunity for different lighting effects. So we have the hive, which is going to be a brighter fixture. And then we have our fusion series, it's going to be a softer, more ambient light where you're going to be interacting with the light a little bit more in that space. We also have the puck series. That's going to be, if you really want to cut down on that light coming out towards the eyes there, the puck is a great set of lights for stair risers, which we have in the plane here that we'll show, and then a great indicator light as well. Another nice light for uplighting in a recessed matter is the Luna. So here you can uplight onto a wall, really highlighting that texture. And then if you're getting into more of a spec light, depending for different architecture, we have our Flux family, which is available in all different beam spreads. So you can really dial things in with a recessed light to have more punch and get up to the different heights that you need as well. The bread and butter in the landscape design is going to be your spotlights. So with that, again, everything's integrated. So we have 4 different spotlights to choose for the appropriate fixtures. So we have our mini scope, which is going to be up to about 10 feet tall. So great for some smaller trees or shrubs. And again, for uplighting, we have the scope, which is going to be your standard fixture here. This is going to be up to 26 feet tall. So, for your standard for most trees in the property or in your project as well. Again, for uplighting. And then we have our big scope for a larger canopy tree. Maybe if it's a willow or a large maple, you have that wider beam, we're able to have that highlighted and filling out that full canopy. And then if it's a taller, narrower tree, we have our big scope narrow as well. So when we get into uplighting, which is going to be, again, very common in the landscape, it's very easy for your professionals to install, either to add on to existing projects or in a new construction. A must-have for uplighting is cross lighting. So when you have the right opportunity there, again, taking those viewing angles into account, using two fixtures, usually they're about at a 45-degree angle from each other, where you're casting light into the canopy of the tree, really creating that depth and dimension. So you're having light, you're creating shadows, and creating that depth and fullness of the element. And then one other thing I like to talk about is shadow lighting. So with that, when you get into uplighting anything, you walk down the street on a sunny day, you have a shadow chasing you right beside you. So anytime you're using light in a space, you get to use those shadows to your advantage. So fixture placement is key here. And again, just by angling, your uplight a little bit to direct that light through the element and cast the shadow onto, in this case, the face of the house here. Things, again, are going to come alive and move at the end, at the end of the day. The sun goes down here, you get a bit of a breeze through, shadow's going to start dancing on the front of the house here. So really brings the space alive, and very simple, but very dramatic as well. And a few other fixtures and lighting effects here that you'll see very commonly in your lighting designs are under cap lights. So anytime you have like an outdoor kitchen, retaining wall pillars, post caps, anything like that, we have our EvoHide 180 here for that nice evenly distributed downlight. Have the big brother to that one, EvoHide 550, for those longer sections if you wanted to have that as well. And then your path lights, again, your spotlights and your path lights are going to be your bread and butter on the design, the most common in the space and the most versatile as well. For our Live series here, you're getting a 360-degree glow around the fixture, creating that path lighting, also ambient onto the steps and bringing out those colors in the garden. So anytime with path lighting, a lot of times you're getting like a 2-for-1 deal by getting some usable light in the space for that kind of task lighting safety element, and then bringing out those natural colors as well. This is the disc here. It's actually CRI 98. It's really pushing the limits of what lighting can do in the space. Then we have our Sway series, which is going to be a non-rigid bollard that'll actually sway and move. It works really well with ornamental grasses. So the grasses will move in the wind. The sway will actually sway a little bit back and forth as well. And again, with any of the path lights, you're getting that usable space here. You have the ACE with a tiltable light source on it, casting light across an element. So you have that functional usable space, and then getting some lighting into the ambient garden across as well. Available in the ACE High. So here you're getting a taller fixture, tiltable light source as well. These are also in the plan. So with these are a great path light, one of my favorites to put in the projects for path lighting. And then we also have some wall lighting in the plan as well. The ACE series, you have the ACE down in here, so you can see those on the back where that lighting effect is. Nice to think V-beams, great for walls, fences, pergolas, columns, anything like that. Some other fixtures we have in the wall lighting are going to be your Halo series, again, and available in the down and up down configuration. And then our wedge series as well, which is very popular for like outdoor kitchens. The mini wedge here for 2.5-inch rail posts, so it's perfect on there for your decking side of things. And we have the larger wedge as well. So that's just a quick overview of some different, kind of core products and those core lighting effects that they provide. And then with that, we can jump into the live demo here, Beth.
Perfect. Thanks, Tom. That was a really great overview. I've got some questions for you.
Awesome. I love questions. So fire away.
So one of the things that I run into a challenge with, especially with newer builds, is they have existing lighting, architectural lighting, And I find that it's too much, right? It's like overpowering. Do you recommend that the client puts that on a dimmer, so that soffit lighting they have is more subdued?
Yeah, with soffit lighting, I have soffit lighting at my house, and I know it can be too much at times. So if you want to have that more ambient mood, like I always recommend being able to have your, those soffit lights and then your landscape lighting on separate. Obviously your soffit lighting is going to be on, on your line voltage of your house, but definitely having the functionality to have those separated. And then definitely if it is like too overpowering, to have those on dimmer for sure, just be able to set that mood, or again, have them off, and then you can have your landscape lighting as architectural lighting as well. Again, choosing the right fixture there, so you're not getting, too much light, but having that ambient light, grazing the walls of the architecture, bringing out the texture of the stone or stucco or wood or whatever it is on the home for sure.
Okay. And I know we've got lots of different, people on here. So we've got, design only, we've got design build. So some people will be installing these themselves. I know in Ontario, we have restrictions of what we can actually do. I think we have to have a master electrician, hook up the transformer. Is that the case throughout North America, or is that kind of, specific to regions?
Yeah, it'll definitely vary by code in different regions. Again, with low voltage, you want to have it buried, 6 inches underground, ideally, plugged into a GFCI outlet. So I definitely recommend, checking that local code and what those maybe like restrictions or what those codes are for those local areas. But again, if people have questions, feel free to reach out. Happy to, lots of resources available for that. So happy to answer or try and find an answer for people for those different areas that may have some questions about that for sure.
Awesome. You're the spot here, so I don't have to work. No, just kidding. Photography. So like when you do these great projects for lighting, I understand that it's kind of counterintuitive when you actually go photograph these, right? Like it's not pitch dark. You would photograph them with some light still in the sky.
Yeah. So you want to get that magic hour where there's still some light in the sky, where it's starting to get dark, and again, a lot of the pictures that you'll see that we use, even like the picture in my background here, you're able to see the lighting effect, but it's still, the sun's still setting. So if it's pitch black, that's when you get a harder glare in your pictures. So if we, when you're taking those pictures, you want to make sure it's at that magic hour where the sun's just starting to set or setting, and you still have some color in the sky, whether, if it's like a dark blue, but as soon as it's pitch black, that's when you can, start to get those glares. So you want to get that magic hour. Same thing, you're walking down the beach and you take those nice pictures. That's the perfect time for getting your landscape lighting pictures as well.
And we look better too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. And the last question I have before we're going to jump into my demo is, I always like to prepare my clients for kind of a budget when we're starting to talk about lighting. Do you have like a starting budget that you would recommend to us designers out there starting out to promote lighting to our clients?
Definitely, and that's a great question. And I'm going to pick out the words that you use, because when I talk about landscape lighting, I never use the word budget, and this is something that we talk about in our university when like selling landscape lighting is. And again, it could go for anything in outdoor space, but I think of budget as a bad thing, where I'm budgeting for something and then I'm spending my money and it's gone. Where I always use the word investment, again, whether I'm talking to a homeowner or talking to a professional or a designer, anybody along my journey, I'm always using the word investment, because with an investment, you're saving your money and you're investing it into something and getting something in return. And that's what your outdoor space is. It is an investment where you're growing that home, and that's what landscape lighting is to that outdoor space, is creating that a return on investment as well. So aside from that, I generally see, if you look at like a 10% of the overall scope of the project, generally is what I see would be a tremendous lighting project. I mean, you can always, again, scale things back and start with a phase one. If you are doing that, do one area really, really well, and then they're gonna get you back to do more. Phase two. Exactly. So don't try and spread the investment too thin on the space if you do run into that. But as a general rule, I find 10% is a tremendous lighting package. But again, you can always scale back and then add on down the road as well.
Good. That's good advice. It kind of saddens me that the lighting seems to be the biggest highlight for my clients. They get the most excited about it. But I think what it does is it extends their appreciation. They can enjoy their projects at nighttime, which a lot of my clients are working long hours, so they get to really appreciate it. So, a lot of times I get the most ecstatic calls about the lighting. It's not like, the major project that we did, but no, the lighting is amazing and we love it. So
yeah,
anyway.
it definitely, it adds a ton to it. And I mean, it doesn't take a lot to really transform the space either with lighting. So no, I definitely have to agree with you there.
So I've got the Dynascape screen up. I've just pulled up one of my plans. I kind of specialize in small urban spaces. So this is a very typical project that I would have. This is the front and the back, new deck, lots of walkways and whatnot, and lots of planting. So with this, what I thought we would do is just look at a master plan and how we can easily transform it into a plan that we can get ready to do our lighting plan with it. And I think a lot of Dynascape users do not use all their layers to their best advantage. And I know for a fact, most people do not use modes. And so modes are in your settings over here, just underneath that pencil. It looks like a rolled up drawing. And if we go down a little way, so most people I know are in the one that's the default mode, which is your design mode, which is what I'm in right now. But if I scroll down to lighting mode, boom, I'm ready to go. So instead of you going in and having to turn off layers and all the layers that apply to what you want left on your drawing, this will get you there really quickly. Now, by the way, if there's something you want to turn back on or turn off, you can always go into your layers over here on the top left, down to the edit active list. And there's 254 layers we have in Dynascape. So there's lots of expansion because they're not all used. But you can turn off any layer you want. So this is a really nice tip for you that you can, isolate layers, turn things on and off. That's how you do it. The only caveat is, let's say I'm actively in light fixture. I cannot turn light fixture off while I'm actively in it. So just have to be in the 253 other layers and you're good to go. So, okay, so I've got this ready to go. I've filtered out a lot, right? So that it's giving me room to put my fixtures into this. So over here in your figures library, you actually have a library already done for you in Dynascape, which is called light fixtures. So you can go in there. There's lots to pick from. So we've got our transformer. So we can drop our transformer in. I think, Tom, we're doing 2 transformers, one at the front, one at the back. And then we can go in and we can pick, our light fixtures. And like any symbol, you can use it how which ones you prefer to use. So Tom gave me a plan, a lighting plan, and then I went in here and used some of the ones that are in existence. So we've got one already set for a path. So I use these for my path lights, and I'm trying to do this by memory, what Tom did for me. I think there was 2 over here too. And then at the back, he did a different path for me. So I just switched out the path to this one for the back. And I think I'm just making this up. He's going to get mad at me that I didn't do it right. But I think he had 3 here and then another one over here. And then we had you had the really neat, what do you call that disc, the step one? For
the step one, that'll be the Puck 22.
Yeah. So I'm just putting figures in. We're going to get into the nitty gritty in a second. So I might just drop these in here. And then I might just go in and actually, this is my little trick to make something straight. Instead of just trying to, roughly put it in straight, I can just go in with constraints on and copy on, and I can drop these in so that they're neatly arranged. Now, did you intend to have one at the very bottom there, Tom, or would you avoid having one of?
Yeah, if I put the Puck 22, I put them in the riser, so I'd have one in wherever like the bottom step is there on that
Yeah,
plan.
so there'd be one more.
Yeah.
Put that in there. Okay. And then you had some downlights over on our garage.
Yeah.
So I think I ended up just using something like this because it's round. So the symbols aren't that important. What's important is you want to make sure that you have a legend. It's kind of like your grading plans. You want to make sure you have a legend so that you're really clear on what those symbols are. And what else do we have in here? We had a lot of different uplights. You had the scope and the mini scope.
Yep, exactly. Pretty good memory there, Beth.
I'm trying. So, you can just drop these in here, and I'm not putting them. I've got on constraints again, so I need to turn constraints off so I have a little bit more mobility with my fixtures here. And then I think you had this type on these ones as well. I had this one the right direction to begin with. And this one. And I think the same ones here, right, on this evergreen?
Yep. And again, like when using multiple fixtures on some of these trees, you're getting that cross lighting and taking those viewing angles into account. So, some of them you may just have one like we have, and then others might be two, especially if it's a larger tree, larger canopy, making sure we have that filled all the way around. Where if it's, the tree up against the house there, one on the, like I'd say the money side, or the one side that you're looking at it from,
right.
You can find there. So obviously with cross lighting, you can, add things up using 2 fixtures per tree. So, something to take into account when you're looking at that investment of the project as well. But definitely if there's major elements or major trees, you want to make sure that those ones are you have all the bases covered on those with that, all the viewing angles.
Okay, so I'm just going to put the other one in here because you had the mini scope, I believe, on these. Now, this one doesn't look very different. Let me just make something that looks a little more different.
No problem. And that's amazing, like having those different symbols as well, like just for the different fixtures. So, it's easier on your plan when, your professional, your clients looking at, what fixtures where. It makes things much easier to look at that. So it's awesome to have a bunch to draw from.
Yeah, there's a ton in here. Maybe too many for me to pick from. Which I think with these figures, there's so many figures nowadays in our program that sometimes you need to narrow it down. Oh, and I've got some on these guys here as well. Oops. Okay. What am I missing here? So I've got the path lights in the back. I've got the path lights in the front, the 2 different scopes. I've got the puck lights down the steps. I've got the garage. I think I'm missing something. The ace high ones.
Yeah, for the path in the back there.
Okay, so I do have those.
Yeah, you got those there. And then I think you pretty much nailed it from my memory here.
Them all. So there's the easy part, in my opinion, dropping the fixtures into the drawing. The next part is I would do the legend. And so I'm just going to shift over to my other drawing. I did, like kind of the take out of the oven version. So you didn't have to be bored with me doing it all. And I'll show you a couple of the lighting. So this one I've already put the legend in here. So all I'm doing is making a legend as I go. So each of the symbols I've dropped in, I tend to do it just so I don't forget anything. As I'm dropping it in here, I'm dropping it in here as well. And then I'll label it here and on my photos, which I'll show you in a second. I've dropped those into the plan as well. So that's pretty much what I would show the client, right? The client, you don't necessarily want to show all the wiring plan to them. They'll be totally confused and it won't be really pretty. So I will not show the actual wiring to the client. I'll have the legend. And over here, I've just dropped in these photos, just put a box around them, put the labeling. So it cross-references your legend to the picture of what you're talking about. Does that make sense to you, Tom?
Definitely. And I mean, having the legend there really helps like that in the pictures, especially for the client, even the professional if they're newer to it, or yourself if you're a newer designer to it. Here you can see all of the fixtures, where they go, the different types. And I also love that you have the different, like your CC2 connectors in there when you're branching off of your main line. You have those drawn in on the plan as well as your extensions. So it's something that's not forgotten when when the professional gets the site. It's drawn into the plan. You can take that into account on your cable runs and everything. And then obviously having those pictures there is great to know what the actual fixture looks like. And then for those experiential pictures, we have a library of a ton of that as well, in addition to any of the brochures. So I love that. And the legend is a key piece to the puzzle there for sure.
Right. So here's my lines that I've just started to put some in. So one of the lines that we've run is all the path lightings that we have in the front. And this is what Tom's talking about. We have a connector going, so we'll have one line going to the transformer, and then this one's going to cut into that same line and connect here. So let me show you first of all, how I did that. So in Dynascape, there are, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but there's a ton of lighting runs. These are all separate layers. And so you're gonna want to use one for each of your runs, because I'm going to show you how cool we can do some neat things with this. So, run one, I ran this. So this is the red. Run two, I think I did the blue. But here, by the way, if you can't remember which run is which, you can push Control and left click with your mouse. Up will come your Edit Entity Attribute. You can go over to Display and it'll tell you which run. So yes, in fact, I was right. This is my first run. I can't remember the blue run. Let's check and see what that one is. So Control, left click, that's run 3. I thought I had skipped one there. So each one of your runs, each one of your lines you're going to run to your transformer, you want to put out as a separate line layer. So once you've done that, so all you do, how I do it is I just go to pick the run. I use the polyline tool, but I don't use the smooth portion to it. I just literally will draw out, where I'm going with it. Like that. You have the other option if you want. You could go into the hand drawing tool and literally, draw something like that. So your preference with that. I might be tempted to actually put some text on each one of those in that same line weight to say what run that is, because I've already lost track of which run I'm in. So let's say I'm in I'm in run 7. So let's just do it in run 7. And lots of different ways we can do it. Like you could just go to regular text, but there is a text here that's kind of funky, and it will allow you to insert text along a flowing line. And so this is good for grades as well. If you're doing contour lines, you can do this as well. But I can call this light, I can't spell, light run. And I like to do capitals, sorry. So let's do light run 7. Apply, select this guy, and I can drop it in. And so it'll actually run along that line. So it's quite nice that you can put those all together, and it's on that layer as well, which is what I like, because as I mentioned, I will not show this to the client. So I don't want all this technical stuff running around my drawing. So I'll do that. Because we've done it in a polyline, the nice thing is we can either just get our measurements with our perimeter tool. So we can just select there, look down in our command bar and have those measurements. But let me show you a cool tool that you might not be using in Dynascape to its capacity. So sorry, I didn't even tell you where I'm going. So up in your labeling segment here in your Dynascape sidebar folder, you've got your plant one, which I think probably a lot of you are using, but the one beside it is gives you the ability to label hardscape labels and also take quantities. So in here, I've done a little bit of homework before we came on today. I've added some actual lines. So if you haven't used this tool before, this will come up blank. You're going to enter all this in yourself. So you can put in, pavers that you use all the time. Any of your hardscape things that you're using all the time, you could be entering them into here instead of typing them over in your text label at the top in your draw toolbox. Okay, so how we add one. So you just go to edit my plant labels. And in here, you're going to put new label. And then over here, I'll put in-lite. And I'll try to do them all the same. 12x2 wiring. And I'll do this as run 4. Okay. And I'm going to leave the price out of this one because Tom explained to me that we can't buy it by the individual foot length, linear foot length. We've got to buy a whole roll. So we're probably better off to figure out what we need in total and then add that into our price. But under units, instead of being each, I want to do feet. And so that's going to be your linear footage with the measurement there. And what else do we need to add? I think I didn't add one of the lighting fixtures. I think I left. When did I leave? I think I left the puck.
The puck 22.
Yeah, so I'll go and add that one as well because I just wanted to show you it's a little different when I do that one. So I'll do in-lite puck 22. And I'm putting the retail price in here. So I can easily create a quote for my lighting with this. So I'm not taking into account labor. I used to, just as a ballpark figure, kind of figure out my price of my fixture and then have a price for install. So I could just kind of give a ballpark figure for that, knowing kind of how many fixtures I would have. So everybody figures out things differently. This will actually just figure out our actual cost of our fixtures. So under units, I am going to have it as each, right? Because each, I'm just going to be able to count up those figures and add those to that. Okay, so I've got that. And we'll just go to close. So those have been added into here. So that's the one we just added, the puck. And I've added all the other ones in there. I think I've got a couple more runs to do, but we'll just start with the runs. So in-lite the run, I'll go down to the tool and I don't want area. I actually want the length. So the measure the length, click go. I'll select the line, right click, and I can label it right there. So you'll notice that the measurement is not on there. I have the choice of either putting it on or not. So if I do show, let's do another one. So let's do run 3, go, and click on this one and put it up here. And excuse my messy labeling. I'm just going to drop these things in just to be quick. But see, you'll see because I've now specified the measurement, the quantity to be shown now is also showing that there. So your choice, especially with any of your hardscaping labeling, you might not want to necessarily put all your quantity takeoffs on your drawing. So you have the choice to turn that on or off. It's still going to generate a really cool file in a minute if you click this or not. So your choice if you want to have that showing or not. So I will, okay. So then let's hop back, and we've got the front ones. Refresh my memory. They're going to be live, low, dark, right?
Yeah, for your path lights and garden
And I
lights
have
there.
2 of these here. I don't know why. I think I did this twice. So in this case, I'm not going to use the tool. I'm literally just going to go and count how many I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8. And I've already labeled this one here. So I could just go like this and label that. Now, technically, I probably should label each one of these individually, right? I tend to teach that, that you want to always make things really clear. But I did a little cheat here. I'll leave this one in and take this one out. Is down in my legend, I did the symbol and I put front yard, because those ones are for the front yard, and the backyard, they're the high ones. So I put backyard. So that's my little cheat. Hopefully I'm okay with that, with my label.
100%. If it's something that helps, understand things on the design side of things, then definitely A-okay there for sure.
Okay, so I haven't done the run of this one yet, but let's just do the labeling to that one. So that one was the scope, right?
Yep.
The straight scope. So that's that one. And I'll probably, should I count them all? Or two? I might do a couple here. So I'll do these ones here. So technically, I should probably be doing several different labels to each one of these. Best practice is that if you've got them scattered around your drawing, let's get rid of this, is if you want to label 2 that are close, just go into your line while you're in that labeling and draw a line across to those 2 fixtures. So that's how I can get away with that. And I can do these 2 together as well. And so I'll go back into my labeling, put in 2, and label those. And again, 2 and label here.
And that's a nice way to do it too, because especially if you have like a lot of different elements in the garden, how many are going on each element. So it's a great way to label it like that.
Okay.
I was thinking on my side, I'm like, yeah, you could do that or do 4. But I'm like, as you're looking at it that way, if you have more than just the 2 trees there, it can be a little confusing, like we have in the garden in front of the house there. So it definitely works to have a better idea for each element, like what's going to be.
Yeah, that's a great tip. That's a great tip. So what you're saying is on that line, how many fixtures? So if I'm trying to remember, these all are on the same line, right? I've got these coming
6,
and these.
There's 6 on that one there.
Yeah, so I should label it 6. That's a really great tip. Okay, so let's do that. So let's just get rid of these and do 6. That is brilliant. Okay.
Yeah, so and like either way too, like if you have it, I guess you kind of find your flow like as you're doing your designs, because some people might do it differently. So either it's like for the line or for the element, but definitely knowing like for those lines, what's going on where. But I guess more kind of critically, or almost as critically as how many are going on each element. So but great to know too as we get into as a not to be a go too far ahead, but to get into like the voltage drop, knowing how many of each fixture are on each line as well. So that's great.
So there's another line that I'm just labeling, and again I would put that number of fixtures on there. Let me just get out of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I can label that like that. And let's label the garage ones.
You had an extra 100 on that one. I think the one key got a little happy.
Well, wouldn't you be happy about that?
Yeah. What's that?
Wouldn't you be happy about that?
Yeah, not mad about it.
Let's see. Yeah. Woohoo. Thanks for catching that.
No problem.
Yeah. So I can catch that in the Microsoft Excel document that we're going to create in a minute. But yes. Okay. And the one thing I didn't put in yet in input in this was the connectors. So you've got the CC.
Your CC2 connectors, yeah.
2 connector. And what was the other one called?
Your extension.
The 3M extension.
Yeah.
Now,
I think it looks like you have those in there.
I would change maybe the symbol to those. I just use something kind of totally different that would stand out.
For sure.
So those are the CC, right? Those ones there?
Those would be the extensions for like a wall-mounted fixture to extend the lead of the fixture. Then your CC2s are going to be branching off of your main line.
Oh, I've got it mixed up then. Yeah. Okay. I think I put the CC in here. Did I or didn't I? In-lite to a slide mini. Maybe I didn't. Okay. So let's add another one. So we'll do new label. So in like CC-2 connector. And Jim, remember the price on that one? Was it $21.99 or?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so again, that's each. And then the other one was called the 3M extension.
Yeah, so that's a 3 meter extension.
Oh, it's 3 meter. Okay.
Yeah, so the extensions, they come in 3 different lengths, 1, 2, and 3 meters.
And was that again $21.99?
That one's $21.99, yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Oh, I didn't put in-lite. Let's do that because then I can find them all in one spot. Okay, so I won't do absolutely everything on this, but I just want to give an idea, and we'll do one more run. So I think I don't know if I have one more run in here or not. Let's just
there'd be two more. Yeah,
there's several more that I've missed that I haven't labeled, but just for demo purposes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So once I've labeled this is what's I think really, really cool about Dynascape is I can go into the related tasks here where it's got that Word and Excel symbol. I tend to like using Excel. You have the choice of going between Word or Excel. I like Excel because it's mathematical and it'll add things up. So, when we talked about the length of the wires, I can do that after the fact. We'll just leave that with what it is and click export. Wants to know where we want to put this. So we'll put in lighting quote. All right. So what it did is it populated everything I labeled. So it's telling me, how long each one of those runs are, which is pretty cool. It's telling me how many fixtures that I've labeled and those prices and extensions to those prices. Oh, you didn't catch another one of my typos there.
Oh, there we go. I tried.
I know. Maybe that's the one we tried to fix and it didn't fix. Maybe I didn't label it. But that's why I like Excel, because I can easily just go in here and make any alterations. And so this is what I'm talking about with the run is I'll figure out how much I have in total, and then I can put the price in just for how many rows I need with that. But this is where we probably can be entering some of the things that you want to talk about with the voltage drop and whatnot. So I could actually add another column in here. So insert, and we could put in, what would you put in here? Voltage drop or
for here. So again, some magic behind the scenes for everybody. We'll do the voltage drop here. So we normally talk about your VA for your capacity. When we're talking about voltage drop, we're going to use the watts because the watts is what you can plug into Dynascape for your voltage drop on those runs. So if we put, again, you have your distances here. I have this built out as well in, we have an Excel voltage drop calculator. So there's two different pieces to the puzzle. Within our voltage drop calculator, you can select the fixtures, how many, what gauge of cable, put in your distance run of your cable, and then it'll tell you what the voltage drop is. Now, the one thing on our side of things, which we don't have, is the distance of your cable runs, where in Dynascape here, you can see you have it dialed down exactly to the inch if you wanted to, because everything's scaled, where so instead of trying to take that guesstimate of your run, you're able to go through and have that full distance and actually know, okay, I need exactly this much for this line. So on our side of things, we can put in for those runs like 1, 2, 3, if you want, Beth, for the watts. And then if you wanted to go in and show on the voltage drop calculator, then that's where we could show that.
Okay. So here under tools, we have a voltage calculator. So tools, voltage calculator. So our length is 72. And our wattage on there is
you're going
6
to be
fixtures times.
You're going to be, so every fixture is going to have a watt in a VA. In this case, we're going to use the watt. So you're going to be, they're 18 watts total for those fixtures.
That's not
fixtures. Yeah, so pretty low. Everything's really efficient with LEDs as well. So you're really, really low there. And then I believe you want 12, just the first 12.
The first 12?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I just do calculate, and it tells me the voltage drop.
Yeah, exactly. So, and now for voltage drop, what that means for anybody who is unsure, if you have too many fixtures or too many heavy drawing fixtures on a line, or too long of a line, or all those factors that you're calculating there can come into play with voltage drop. If you have voltage drop or too much of it, what can happen is your fixtures can either be dim, flicker, or not work. So that's a great way to ensure that you don't have any issues kind of ahead of time. And again, we can send our voltage drop calculator out to make it easy to calculate the load for your system, but also very simple. You can just look at the spec sheet and then total everything up by each one. So you're good there. You can have your voltage drop in there. The biggest thing is, again, just knowing the draws of your fixtures, how many fixtures on that line, and then how long the line is, and then calculating that voltage drop. Within 1.3 to 1.5 volts, you're fine for voltage drop. So, everything's 12 volts coming out of your transformer. So you want to try and keep things above, 10.5 volts. And then so you can have voltage drop, but that's kind of best practice for your maximum voltage drop before you could potentially start to run into some issues.
Okay, let me just repeat that again. So voltage drop allowance, you said, is between 1 and 1.3?
1.3 to 1.5 volts.
0.3 to 1.5 volts. Okay, good to know. Perfect. We're making it easy peasy for everybody. Okay, so that one, I picked the wrong one. I just realized I put it in the wrong one. 1 second here. That was which line? I mucked it up because I think I've labeled mine different than yours. So that's run 3. Run 3. So let me just go back. And that is run 3. So that's that one. 0.17. There we go. And we'll get rid of this one. So this one here is a little bit more challenging because I don't have a continuous line, right? We stop and start. Yeah. So I would just figure out these two and add them up. So we've got 30 and 45. So we've got 75. So if we do that one, voltage calculator. So we've got 75 feet. And do you know that one, Tom?
That one for the live low dark, you're going to be a total of 12 watt.
12 watts. So 0.12.
Yeah.
So very acceptable, right?
Yeah, exactly. And again, for anyone who's like newer to landscape lighting, as a general rule, from your transformer, 80 meters or 262 feet, you can run from your transformer before you would, like that's your maximum distance with 12-2 wire. So I always recommend using 12-2 because you can go that distance. And then again, it just depends how many fixtures are on that line, but that's where the voltage drop calculator comes into play, just to help, ensure you don't run into issues on site when your customers are installing.
Yeah. You can start to run out of real estate when you start going up trees, right? So going up 40 feet up a tree can eat up a lot of that quite quickly.
Definitely. And one thing to add on, this is just as I'm going to see and being new to Dynascape as well. When we use a CC2 connector, what we're doing there is we're branching off of that main line to go another direction. And I talk about those cable limitations of your 80 meters from your transformer. So on that, I know it's the red line on the plan that we have with those live lows. So if we're, for example, just for ease of numbers, if we were maxed out and that main line was 80 meters, and then that CC2 was at 40 meters, the branch off of that main line could be 40 meters. So the next time that we do a webinar, or the next time that I'm advising someone for Dynascape designs, I would say have those lines where you can have them kind of separate to know your total. I mean, we're still within it for total, so you're fine, but having your main line to the CC2, so you can have that distance, and then your main line that's continuing on, just so you're making sure that you're not going over that distance. But again, for those,
Let me fix it right now. Let me fix it right now. So what you're saying is this should be separate.
If you had it separate, just so you can total up that distance there and make sure you're not going over. And then again, same thing for that, and then the next section. So it's adding another layer to the onion. But on that,
I just broke it now. So
side.
I just broke it. So now I can get that one separate. So that's 20 feet.
So yeah, so if you had that one in, if you can have like checking them, so you're 20 feet and then 30 feet and whatever the other one is there, you're well within the constraints there. Just again, depending on the scale of the project, you might be getting close to that distance, or again, making sure for what that distance is, the fixtures that are on it, so you're not getting that voltage drop. So just wait to double check and make sure you're not getting any issues.
80 feet maximum for that connector.
80 meters.
Oh, sorry, 80 meters. Oh, yeah, okay, so like
262 feet. So in this one, not as much of a potential issue, but on a larger run, then that's where you want to make sure that you're totaling up, back from your branch to your main line back to the transformer. But that just kind of came to me as I saw you kind of going through, and an easy way to be able to again make sure. I love being able to see exactly how long you need for your cable run. So that's awesome to see that and be able to utilize that aspect of it as well.
So once you're done it, I kind of see it as two separate drawings, like one that you're going to present to your clients, and then one you need to figure out, quantities and to actually install it. So you can also take advantage of modes. In the modes, there's lighting mode, and then there's wiring mode. So I can turn it back to lighting mode for my client and print that off, and then I can switch over to wiring mode, which has the fixtures and everything in there as well. That's
amazing. And it really helps, eliminate those unnecessary, layers for, the client to visualize. The big thing with landscape lighting is with your plan, it helps them visualize what their space can look like, and where things are going to go. They can see the fixtures, and you can show them the different effects that they're going to show off. But being able to make it simpler for them to understand and taking like the noise out of it definitely goes a long way. So that's amazing to have those different modes there.
Now I just noticed I think I put my labels in a layer that's not, because I would want those on with that. So let me just check. I'm just going to go to all layers on and check what layer I put them in. So I put it in takeoff layer because I was in the takeoffs. So that's why it turned off on me. So this is how I could go in. It's just a little technical thing. So if I just go back into the wiring mode, because I want those labels on, I can go back into my layers and go in and turn those takeoff layers on, which are down, I think, in the 50s, if I remember the takeoff layer.
Pretty good memory there, Beth. I think you've done this before.
I do know all my labeling tends to be in the 50s, so that's how I know it. I've used this program for like 20 years, so I sound smart, but I've just been using it a very long time. So there, I just turned it back on. So this is where, I could either put it in a layer that's going to stay on, so I could even have those labels attached to the same layer as the line run, which might be handy, so that they turn off if I just want to show the fixture lighting. So lots of options there. Hopefully this has been eye-opening for everybody watching, and it's giving you some good ideas. I definitely think lighting, as Tom said, is something we're leaving on the table as designers, and it is nice to put it into our repertoire because, as I said, my clients absolutely love the lighting effects and what it does to the landscape, and it just makes the landscape pop at night.
100%, and it goes all the way down, all the way down the chain from like the design to the build to the end user. Everybody gets more value out of adding lighting into it. Like you get more value out of adding into your designs because, you're able to obviously like charge more for your design, have, even nicer finished photos of your designs with lighting in them. Same thing for your, your professionals. They're making more money on their projects are looking better. And the end client, the end user, the homeowner, they're being able to enjoy their space even more, and then have that safety element there too. So everybody wins, and it's definitely like amazing. Like seeing tools like this that you can use to help make things easier all along the entire journey of the project and the lighting design is amazing. So this is great, Beth. Thanks for putting this together.
Thank you. I really appreciate you spending the time and the patience with me with putting this together too. Lots of great tips.
No problem. I loved kind of learning more even for myself, like learning more about Dynascape and what it can do, and already have some ideas for some more kind of tips and tricks for if we do another one of these for getting into some other aspects of it as well. So this is amazing. Yeah,
I think we could take this up a notch. We could do 2.0 down the road. Definitely. For sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for helping me out with this, Beth, and getting this plan together. And I look forward to doing another one of these, hopefully not too far down the road.
Excellent. Well, maybe we can meet in Muskoka and see some of your lighting up there.
That works for me. If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Beth, and happy to provide some more insight or answer some of those questions, maybe things that we didn't cover today or that you wish that we did, or even things that we did and you may have some questions about it. Please feel free to reach out. Always happy to help out and further that education and even learn some stuff for myself. So thanks for joining today, and hope everybody has a great day.
Take care.